Thank you, Vice President Cheney. Thank you for that kind introduction. It's hard to describe what a privilege it is for me to have the opportunity to sit behind the same desk where you once sat. And let me take this moment to say thank you to you personally. President Trump and I are both grateful, Mr. Vice President, for your steadfast support throughout this election. And let me also say, as a congressman, as a Secretary of Defense, as Vice President of the United States, you served our country with integrity. Would all of you mind for a moment? Get on your feet and join me in thanking the 46th Vice President of the United States for his long and distinguished service to the United States of America. It's a great privilege to be back at the Republican-Jewish Coalition. I want to thank Senator Norm Coleman for stepping up in a leadership role, and Matt Brooks for leading this great organization at such an important time in the life of our nation and in the life of our most cherished ally, Israel. On behalf of myself and my wife of 31 years, Karen Pence, who is with us tonight, Karen and I wanted to say Shabbat Shalom to you all. You know, the last time I was here was nearly 2 years ago. It was April 2015, right as the presidential campaign was starting to take shape. It's deeply humbling for me to be standing here tonight, thanks to all of you and your generous support and your hard work, as Vice President of the United States of America. Now, I'm here because of the confidence of our new president and because of all of you. Because of your hard work, your support, and your prayers, my family and I now have the privilege to serve. But more importantly, because of all of you, my friend Donald Trump is the 45th president of the United States of America. Now, President Trump personally asked me to join you tonight. He told me to pass along his greetings and a message. He asked me to say thank you and to give you his great respect. The Republican-Jewish Coalition endorsed President Trump last May, and you stood with us every step of the way on to victory, to the American people's victory on November the 8th, and we will never forget it. Now, the President and I both know it took you all took a lot of flack for your courage, but you stuck with it. You stuck with us. So thank you all. This room is filled to the brim with true leaders and true patriots, and we are in your debt. Of course, to meet that description, there are none who deserve it more than two great Americans who are with us tonight, Sheldon and Miriam Adelson. Sheldon and Miriam, your patriotism, your leadership of this organization and in this country, and your efforts on behalf of the people of Israel, in so many ways have given America a second chance. Your leadership, I believe, will impact this nation and the Jewish state of Israel for generations to come, and God bless you both. Now, there's so many more here tonight that I could name. And I want to assure all of you, though, that President Trump and I will never forget your unwavering support. And rest assured, we're going to keep our end of the bargain, too. because President Donald Trump is going to fulfill the promises he made to you and made to the American people. This White House is in the promise-keeping business. Now, tonight I'd like to focus on a few of those promises. But before I do, know that this community has been on our minds and in our hearts a great deal of late. I'd like to address for a moment the recent threats against the Jewish community across this country, including the appalling act of vandalism at a historic Jewish cemetery in Missouri. Speaking on Tuesday, President Trump aptly called those attacks horrible and painful. He said that they were, in his words, quote, "a sad reminder of the work that still must be done to root out hate and prejudice and evil." Well, let me be clear. We condemn these vile acts of vandalism and those who perpetrated them in the strongest possible terms. Hatred and anti-Semitism have no place in America. The Jewish community is a beautiful thread in our national fabric. And rest assured, under President Trump, we will protect this community from all who would ever dare to threaten it. Our Jewish communities have a special place in the heart of every freedom-loving American. You know, I saw that love and compassion of everyday Americans for their Jewish neighbors just a few days ago in Missouri, where with the leadership of Governor Eric Greitens, hundreds of volunteers from every walk of life and every background turned out to rake and restore that hallowed ground. It was a truly inspiring moment. And I want to thank Governor Greitens, who's with us here tonight, for showing the world what America is all about and giving me the opportunity on behalf of our president to tell Missouri that they made us proud. But America's support for the Jewish people doesn't end at our nation's borders. In the days to come under President Trump, let me assure you of this. If the world knows nothing else, the world will know this: America stands with Israel. President Trump and I stand with Israel because her cause is our cause. Her values are our values, and her fight is our fight. Under this president's watch, the bond between our nations and our peoples is already growing stronger. I've seen firsthand the president's firm commitment to Israel. It was the morning after the election where he and I had about 2 hours sleep. He was already at his office at 9 in the morning. I had the great privilege of being in the room when Prime Minister Netanyahu called President Trump to congratulate him. I also heard President Trump in that moment express a strong and unwavering support of the United States for Israel. I saw it again last week when President Trump hosted Prime Minister Netanyahu at the White House. And I trust that our commitment to Israel has been evident in the actions our president has taken over the past month, starting with naming Nikki Haley to be America's ambassador to the United Nations. Ambassador Haley's already fighting. Ambassador Haley's already fighting tirelessly to defend Israel from the endless bias of the UN, especially when it comes from nations that are neither democratic nor free. And you can also see it in the president's decision to nominate David Friedman as America's ambassador to Israel. And after he's confirmed, and I know Senator Gardner and Senator Ernst are here, so I say with confidence, he will be confirmed. President, I know he'll be an unabashed advocate for a stronger Israel-America relationship. We're also reviewing additional steps to demonstrate America's support, including assessing whether the American embassy in Israel should be relocated to Jerusalem. And President Trump is personally invested in forging a lasting peace in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Sheldon and I were talking about that issue just tonight. Under President Trump, let me assure you, America will support the negotiation process, but as the President said, any agreement must be reached by both sides, and where there will undoubtedly have to be compromises, know this: the Trump administration will never compromise the safety and security of the Jewish state of Israel. National security, making America safe again, is actually where the Trump agenda begins. Under President Trump, America will be strong enough to defend our nation, our allies, and our interests around the world. As we speak, President Trump is making plans to make the United States military the greatest fighting force the world has ever seen, stronger still. We will rebuild our military. We will restore the arsenal of democracy. We will provide our soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and Coast Guard with the resources and training they need to accomplish their mission and come home safe. And we will hunt down and destroy ISIS at its source so it can no longer threaten our people or our communities or our nation. We will stand strong in the face of ongoing provocations and efforts by Iran to destabilize the region across the wider Arab world. President Trump already put the leading state sponsor of terrorism on notice, and we told the Ayatollahs in Tehran that they should check the calendar. There's a new president in the Oval Office, and his name is Donald Trump. For too long, Iran has been funneling weapons and cash to their terrorist minions in places like Lebanon, Syria, and the Gaza Strip. They've gone to great lengths to develop nuclear weapons and ballistic missiles, and due to the disastrous end of the nuclear-related sanctions under Iran, they now have even more resources to devote to these efforts. So let's be clear on this night. President Trump will never allow Iran to develop a nuclear weapon. That is our solemn promise to you and to the world. While the President has been focusing on security at home and abroad, we're also working tirelessly on the President's three-part agenda. You might remember it from the campaign trail. Jobs, jobs, and jobs. President Trump has already taken action that's putting Americans back to work and getting our economy moving again. And I'm pleased to report to my friends in the Republican Jewish coalition, it's been exciting to watch. Right out of the gate, he authorized the Keystone and Dakota pipelines to build our energy infrastructure. He ordered every federal agency and department to find 2 regulations to get rid of before issuing any new federal red tape. He's actually convinced businesses across the country to keep tens of thousands of jobs here at home already and create tens of thousands of new ones too. When Ford Motor Company canceled plans to build a plant in Mexico a little while back and choose to create those jobs in Michigan, they said it was a, quote, vote of confidence in the leadership and vision of President Donald Trump. And so it was. And we're just getting started, folks. I'll make you a promise I said last night at a gathering in Washington, D.C. America's Obamacare nightmare is about to end. You know, despite the best efforts of liberal activists at town halls across the country, the American people know better. Obamacare has failed, and Obamacare must go. This failed law is crippling the American economy and crushing the American people. Talk about your fake news. Just look at the promises that Obama and the liberals made about Obamacare. Do you remember them? They told us the cost of health insurance would go down. Not true. They told us if you liked your doctor, you could keep him. Not true. They told us if you liked your health plan, you could keep that too. Not true. Now we all know the truth. Today, Americans are paying $3,000 more a year on average for their health insurance. Last year alone, premiums skyrocketed by a stunning 25%, and millions of Americans have lost their plans and lost their doctors. Higher cost, fewer choices, worse care. That's Obamacare. And if that weren't bad enough, Obamacare is also a job killer, and everybody in America knows it. But we're about to change all that by repealing Obamacare once and for all and eliminating its mandates and taxes and intrusion into our lives and into our businesses. And best of all, Obamacare is going to be replaced with something that actually works, something that's built on freedom and individual responsibility. President Trump and I want every American to have access to quality and affordable health insurance, which is why we're designing a better law, working with many of the members of Congress who are gathered with us tonight, that focuses on lowering the cost of health insurance without growing the size of government. We're going to let the American people purchase health insurance across state lines, just like you buy life insurance and just like you buy car insurance. We're going to make sure Americans with pre-existing conditions have access to health insurance and the security that they need, and we're going to give states across this country the flexibility and freedom they need to take care of the least fortunate in their state the way that will work for them and their people. You know, despite the fear-mongering from the left, make no mistake about it, we're going to have an orderly transition to a better health care system that finally puts the American people first. And once we repeal and replace Obamacare, we're not going to stop there. We're going to get this economy moving again by cutting taxes across the board for working families, small businesses, and family farms. We're going to roll back Dodd-Frank and wasteful government spending. We're going to keep slashing job-killing regulations, and we're going to rescind unconstitutional executive orders signed by Barack Obama. We're going to enact real education reform that gives families more choices and will end the broken system that puts the status quo ahead of our kids. And we're going to uphold the Constitution of the United States of America and the values that we hold dear. And when it comes to the highest court in the land, in Judge Neil Gorsuch, President Donald Trump nominated a justice to the Supreme Court who will keep faith with our Constitution, the God-given liberties enshrined there in the tradition of the late and great Justice Antonin Scalia, just like he promised to do. Men and women of the Republican Jewish Coalition, it's time. And I promise you, the President and I are going to work our hearts out to make America safe again, to make America prosperous again. But the success of our cause, and more importantly, so much more importantly, the success of our country, depends as much on all of you as it does on us. We must, in this moment, all of us, rise to the challenge before us today, tomorrow, and every day thereafter. It should be obvious on your television screens the other side is not sitting idle. And their allies in the media are more than willing to amplify their defense of the failed status quo. Now more than ever, as we did before, as the Republican Jewish Coalition was a part of, when we won back the Congress in 2010 and won back the White House in 2016, we need to mobilize, we need to march forward as if this was the most important time in the history of our cause, because there's no time like the present to make America great again. From this day forward in that cause, President Trump and I need every ounce of your energy and enthusiasm, your conviction, your courage, your passion, and your prayers. And I know we will succeed. The American people and the world depend on American leadership and strength. You know, I was poignantly reminded of this just last Sunday. Karen and I had traveled to Munich, Germany to speak at an international security conference. But we took time to travel to the first Nazi concentration camp, a place called Dachau. I'd been there as a young man touring through Europe, but we wanted our daughter to see it too. We arrived at the camp in an early morning fog, and we were accompanied on our tour by a Dachau survivor, Abba Naor. He was imprisoned in Dachau when he was just a 17-year-old boy. He described the hellish life that he endured there, toiling away as a slave while those around him were taken away one by one, never to return. At 92 years old, he lives in Israel, but he comes back to travel through Bavaria every year and speak to school children about what happened. Incredibly courageous man. And to hear his account of his experiences in that place were chilling. But as we walked, and as the fog began to lift, he stopped at one moment, talking about the march he was on in the waning days of the war. And then he looked up at me with tears in his eyes, and he said, words I'll never forget. In the midst of that hellish experience, he said, then the Americans came. Those words made me proud to be an American. And they underscored the imperative of American strength and the immutable bond between our people and the people of Israel. It's a bond of faith. It's a bond of shared values. And it's a bond of heritage. And it's a bond that I promise you, in the days that come under the leadership of President Trump, it is a bond that will only go stronger and stronger and stronger for the benefit of our people and theirs. You know, over the mantle of our home since the first year I was elected to Congress are framed and ancient words that have inspired our family to serve this nation with confidence and faith. They come from the book of Jeremiah, and they read, for I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you a hope and a future. With faith in those promises, with boundless confidence in the American people and in all of you gathered here, I know we will make America safe again. I know we will make America prosperous again. I know America will stand strong with our most cherished ally again. And under the leadership of President Donald Trump, I know we will make America great again. Thank you. God bless you. And God bless America.